Yeah, if you want to learn how to kite surf, hey, hit us up. After we just figured out it's a lot harder to actually get to an island.
Yeah, just send me that URL for the next, like, the best YouTube tutorial for like 4 minutes, you know.
Oh yeah, hands up in chat if you actually know how to kite surf. Oh, if you know what kite surfing is in the first place. Okay, that would
I know what surfing is. Yeah.
Dude, there's like 3 different kinds of surfing. There's like kite surfing, there's windsurfing, and then there's like what we call wave riding. So which one shall it be?
Wave riding's normal, I guess. Kite surfing is where you have a kite above you and then you like jump over the waves with it. And what was the last one?
Windsurfing.
Windsurfing. Oh yeah, so you have like a mast on the surfboard and then it pulls you along, right?
I mean, basically, windsurfing is basically almost dying, and even kite surfing is like cutting back in favor of what's called wing foiling, which is, I don't know. Anyway,
that's cool. Like, you want to have like a near-death experience, then please go for it.
No, it's not that. Like, not that many people die from kite surfing every year, but it was kind of shocking. Like when I talked to some colleagues, and everybody's like, "Oh yeah, I had a client or two." I'm like, what? Like, I thought you guys were like. I guess not joking, but this is real. Yeah, well. Anyway, hello and welcome to Everyday Kitesurfing number 167, your favorite, most deceptively named bi-weekly legacy podcast. Today's show is brought to you by, short and sweet, Hunter. Hunter, thank you so much. And if you want to support the running of the show directly, just like Hunter does, you can support us on patreon.com/everydayeternal. Guys, did you hear about the new challenge times? There's a new challenge in town.
Yeah.
Yes.
I should have a button like, here comes a new challenger. Damn, I'm so
just
bad.
Impact noises.
Here comes a new challenger. Oh, dude, I would give so much to go back to like the times of arcade machines. Like in Japan, they still have those, right?
They have them, yes, from like back in the day. Like retro is such a good thing, you know. Like everyone can relate.
Can you just like walk up to somebody, like, and I think it works. You put a coin on the machine, and then you look them in the eye, and they know you will like completely destroy them.
Yeah, with the deep eye contact first.
Yeah, exactly, right. That's how you do it. Maybe they just like leave. They start crying. Like, okay, now I play against the computer. Hey, this is so cool. No, seriously, there are new challenge times, and from what I saw, this was like initiated like super randomly. Was it Brian Cook actually?
Yeah, it's amazing. Yeah. So like Brian just posted on Twitter. Oh no, sorry, in the Discord. Saying,
in the Discord even, right?
In the Magic Online Discord, which by the way, like I'm always checking it just because the people that in Daybreak that run it, they're super active. They're constantly transparent and talking to people and everything. So he just said, hey, this is a long shot, but any chance of like a new challenge where us East Coasters can play? Because for them, all the challenges are crazy early or crazy late, depending on how you view it and how many beers you've had. But yeah, they just said, yeah, sure, we'll give it a go. And everyone was like, wow, you can just ask for things? It's
Is that how it works? Like you can make the world a better place? What?
I mean, at the same time, it makes total sense that they'll try it. So their wording is, we're throwing a bunch of challenges at the wall and seeing what sticks. So like, they're trying loads of stuff. They've added loads more challenges for every format. So there's more vintage, more pioneer, more modern, more everything. And the expectation is some will probably get cut back. Maybe they'll just keep firing and they keep carrying on. Like, this is a win for Daybreak, right? They get more people playing challenges and more entrance fees and stuff.
Definitely.
Yeah, they made them almost like 32 player events, right?
Yeah, so they should fire. Like, you need a minimum of 32 players to fire it. So, you know, if one of them just consistently doesn't fire, then you know, it's
but when you think about it, for those who still remember the times of, you know, black and white video and everything, we used to have what's called daily events. We used to have 2 daily events a day, which makes them bi-daily or do day, whatever. And those were also like, I think 16 people minimum, like almost like 8 years ago or something. And they would basically always fire, except for like during very bad times. But there are other reasons, like economy reasons, I guess, which also is an issue right now. Kind of, dude, I'm not that deep into Magic Online right now. I just like constantly see people complaining about the price of treasure chests.
Yeah, I'll be honest, I'm not deeply into the economy either, but it does seem like treasure chests
is that a way of saying you don't win a lot?
Excuse me. My rating is at least 1,600.
Oh, badass. No. You just made a new account. Holy shit.
Yeah. But then again, like you can also like crack the chest and see what's up there. Like I think generally like it's the same thing with like booster packs and in real life is that I see a couple of people who always get a couple of like boxes and they keep them for forever and to like kind of resell them for I don't know like $50 more maybe in 10 years or so, which I really don't really get. I think like packs and even like chests are they're kind of fun to open. Doesn't mean that I am open all my chests all the time, but I
50-50 depending on how I feel. Like if you're not like a grinder or Magic Online, this probably doesn't really affect you very much. And I don't play anywhere near enough for it to really affect me, because we're talking about like they've gone down 30 cents sometimes. They fluctuate. Sometimes they've been up to 2.5 or higher. So at the moment they're like 1.8 something. So it does fluctuate a real amount if you have hundreds of them. But
1.8 is like insanely low.
It is very low. So from what I've read, like I'm just completely extrapolating what the grinders, like the people that play all the time, like the mods and stuff, like they're saying the economy needs a bit of an overhaul. But realistically, if you're playing a couple of leagues a week, maybe even more, it doesn't really affect you. Like you probably just open the chest because the play points keep you playing and stuff.
Right.
That's kind of what I do. Or sometimes if I get a bunch after a challenge, I did okay, I'll just sell them. But I don't know. I think it's fine to just continuously open them, and the actual EV doesn't really like come. It comes out in the wash.
They usually say that the EV is actually better than what they sell for, kind of like because the
play points are worth more.
The play points exactly that you can't really cash them out, right? They're tied to Magic Online. But the thing is, like, I'm looking at the graph right now, and holy shit, this does not look very good. This looks like if this was some kind of stock. Okay, we will see. I'm not complaining too much either. I just play and see what happens, and as long as people keep playing, that's good. But holy shit, this looks bad.
It does. So it'll be interesting to see what they do. Again, I just have no idea what the fix should be or something. Some people say play points need an overhaul, or the QPs need an overhaul. Prelims.
Should I go and save Magic Online once again?
Yes,
I take pride in the cocky way of saying that, like, during the big economic crisis of 2015, I actually solved it. I told them they should introduce a currency that is untradeable, uncash outable. And they never responded to that. But then, like, a month later, we got play points. Mm-hmm. And I felt like, I don't know.
I heard Arkan made play points.
Call me the Canes of MTGO. Something like that. Yeah. Dude, seriously, it was, oh my God, it was Arkan. I remember
Arkan came up with play points, actually.
He went, he drove to their headquarters. I just remember that now. No, but seriously, this is the base of my MTGO wealth. Or, dude, seriously, I'm going way out of anyway. No, when they converted those stupid ghost points or whatever it was called, shadow points, I think it was called shadow points. Now. They were completely useless and like bullshit. Like you could play drafts, like these Phantom Event drafts. So I guess they were kind of okay, but you could only play like weird Phantom Event drafts that nobody. But I had a ton. I had a couple thousand, and they converted them one by one into play points. And I was like, dude, if you had converted them at like 10-1, I would have been happy. But you converted them 1-1 8 years ago. I haven't played for Magic Online ever since for anything, which is like crazy. Anyway, having a good time. So yeah, new challenges there at 2 p.m. for Central European summertime, which is like completely unplayable for most people. And for the East Coast, it should be like 8 p.m. I would guess, something like that. And then even a little bit earlier for the western parts of the US.
Yeah, which they're clearly all geared for the US, which I think is great. I heard stories of people waking up really early or really late and stuff. And again, like, I think these are just really catering for a bunch of people that couldn't do it before. So it's not even like they're going to split the player base into all these different challenges too much. Like we're seeing Bryant Cook and Alex from Tez.com fame and stuff, they top 8'd the first one. Max Dorshan top 8'd his first one, I think. They've all played in like showcase challenges and stuff, but their first ones they could do like at a nice time in the evening and stuff. So we're seeing people that don't usually get to play these normal challenges pop up and stuff, which is cool.
I mean, it's at the same time, it's like so hard to make it, good for everyone, right? Like I remember like 2 years ago when I was still in Japan, the Sunday Legacy Challenge fight at midnight. And until like 7 or 8 a.m., depending on how long you keep playing. But
and you've still got Sylvia playing every single one.
Yeah, dude. And like that was also like that was a time when I streamed the most Legacy Challenge for some reason. I set my alarm at 11:30, then made some breakfast, and then started my stream exactly at midnight.
Breakfast at midnight.
Yeah,
that should be
dude.
the title of your stream or your book or something. Breakfast at midnight.
I should have shown it, but like it was kind of like a
Actually, you
like
showed me. It was probably Natto, right?
Probably, yeah.
Yeah, let's not do that.
Not in all of them, but some of
You need
them.
a special license to show Natto on TV in Germany. You know?
Because like all blurry and things.
Yeah, exactly. That's where we draw the line. Yeah, but we saw one of the results. The Eternally Surprised posted it on the Everyday Eternal Discord channel, and holy shit! Like, what is this? Doomsday, Besiege Storm, the Epic Storm, Besiege Storm, Cephalid Breakfast, Reanimator, another
Dude.
the Epic Storm. What is going on there?
I love that.
Just before all the Control players complain about Dark Ritual and bullshit and stuff, the next challenge had 0 Dark Ritual is in the top 8, so it's fine.
Rightfully so.
But what a fucking cool top 8. I think it's awesome.
Yeah, dude.
Like
Yeah,
it's,
dude.
it's like
it slaps.
It's like this. The story is like, okay, the first all the Europeans are asleep. Let's break out the evil shit and stuff. I don't know, just
Yeah.
spitballing, but I think it's
That
just a
sounds
really
about
cool
right.
looking top 8. Yeah.
You wanna be part of the top 8?
Do I?
Yeah, I mean, you just gotta build a deck that beats all the other Dark Ritual
Well,
decks,
I guess
right?
you gotta get there in the first place.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm not too hyped about
So,
that. But
like,
that's
I mean,
okay.
like a card that is really good versus almost all Dark Ritual decks combined is Opposition Agent, right? And that even comes out of a Dark Ritual.
I thought you were gonna say like in the Eye of Chaos.
In the Eye of Chaos is second. Close though. Very close.
Okay. Oh, that sounds about right. Guys, before we go into the rest of the topics today, I want to once again tease Impact Returns happening in Spain, 26th, 27th, 28th July. Something like the second biggest legacy event of the year, usually in Europe, in northwestern Spain. You fly to A Coruña. Basically, most people would probably like fly via Madrid, or even do some kind of like, by the way, we're not sponsored by these guys. We just love going there. We went there last year. And this year, Kai and I are going. And Callum, you might even show up there, right?
Fingers crossed. I hope so. We're...
That'd be
Nice.
amazing.
Nice,
Yeah.
dude.
If you want to bring more people, like one of the biggest things is we want to get more international attendance. Like I think they had like 200 people from Spain usually, sometimes a little over 200.
That's sick.
And once we can, like this thing has been fully established, right? And once we can now start to bring in the international audience, it's gonna only grow bigger, and I'm super excited for that. So
Yeah,
hit
my
us
fingers
up if-
crossed. My fingers crossed is that actually very, very likely. It's going to be great.
Awesome. I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah.
I mean, Spain by the coast in the summer sounds okay.
yeah, dude.
Do Kai you remember, like, we when we were talking to, like, every other person in Spain is called David, apparently. No, seriously, like, they have a lot of the amazing Davids. Like,
A
when
lot
we were
of them.
standing outside, when we were done doing commentary for Saturday, and we were standing outside in the sun just talking to David, this guy, and he was like, hey, you want to go to the ocean? And we were like, yeah, let's go. And
Yeah.
then we just, like, we
Yeah.
drove down to the ocean, like, 20 minutes, and then, like, here we are. That was just, like... I
Yeah,
love that.
dude, it was unreal, and like we kept talking about this event. I think after the event happened, and dude, seriously, like now, everyone, if you're listening to this, like now is the time to please book your flights. Like you will not regret this trip at all. I'm just like we talked about this, right? Like the only downside of this event is the how to get there thing, right? Because the access is not as easy as other events, but like everything else, literally everything else is such a delight. Everything I'm not okay, I'm gonna say it out right now, but I think almost everything is a little better than Four Seasons Bologna. And
Yeah,
this is me, talking like how amazing the food in Italy is and the events and so on. But like A Coruña, like the Frutti di Mare there, the events, Inigo putting so much effort and energy into this event, the coverage, literally everything is so good, and it's kind of hard to describe. Like you gotta go check it out by yourself.
I can't share who told it, who told me, but everybody knows. So actually, no, this is getting too. Anyway, I just want to say somebody who's very famous, who knows about the event, told me he believes this is the most professional third-party legacy event, at least in Europe, that he's ever been to. And I wish I could share his or her or their name, but I can't. But there's something. Also, like, don't worry about getting from A Coruña to the event. We'll make it work. Just like drop us your flight times and we'll make it work. Last times, like we got picked up, right? Just like we walked outside the tiny airport, chilled, and then we just got picked up. We'll make it work. So if you're an international player looking to come here, or also if you're Spanish and you don't live in Spain, you want to get there, you're also allowed to come. You don't need some kind of special certificate. So super excited for that. 26th, 27th, 28th of July, the midst of summer. And if you want to go to Portugal right afterwards, like I did last year, go to Porto at the very least. Amazing. If you can, also go to Lisbon and have a great time. So see you all there. And with that, everybody, thank you so much for tuning in.
I also want to note very quickly that I think the weekend right before that event, before the Impact returns, there's also the ALM in Austria. Also doing like a semi-large event for, and including like a qualifier for the ELM.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Austrian Legacy
Masters, exactly. Yeah, I talked to Peter a couple of days ago, and they told me about the event, and it was a huge success. I think last year they had a couple of Italian players, a couple of German players, and obviously the Austrian crowd, and they had a lot of cool tournaments. I think including the Friday Night Magic, which was like the biggest Friday Night Magic legacy they've had in history of the store, I think. But,
so like 12 players?
So yeah, like a lot of legacy going on this summer. So I'm really excited.
The summer of legacy summer, awesome. But actually, you didn't play a lot of legacy lately, Callum. You played a little bit of vintage, as it turns out, right?
Yes.
What happened there?
So Francis from London, he runs quarterly.
What's his full name?
Francis Cowper.
Oh no, I remember.
So people probably play against him on Magic Online as FGC. He runs quarterly vintage events. The first one was, I think we played yesterday. It was the fourth one. So it's just very cool. Like, it's in the same place that I run LLMs, and we've had about 20-ish people every single time. The atmosphere is always so chilled. It's obviously proxies allowed because you don't get 20 people for vintage without that really these days. And it's always just an opportunity. It's a fun opportunity because I don't really play vintage online. I always think I would probably enjoy it if I do play a bit more. And today I was playing a couple of matches, like the first ones in a year, I think. It's just, I enjoy watching Justin. I'm actually level 1, but that's like basically my vintage involvement. So I'm on a little bit of a roll now. So, spoiler, I won yesterday. And I won
the entire thing?
The entire thing. And I came third at the one before, and I won the one before. So maybe I'm a vintage player. But I don't really know the format that well, so I'm kind of like playing just what I think is cool. So the last event and this event, I played Tinker Breach, which is, I actually, Sam Rukas, he summed it up bestly. It just looks like the legacy ban list. so it's a breach deck, obviously. So you have Black Lotus and Brain Freeze to combo with your breach, and you have Time Vault and Manifold Key. And obviously Saga can go and find the Manifold Key. Then it plays just like a bunch of counter magic, a bunch of fast mana, and a bunch of tutors, and then stuff like Time Walk and Ancestral, obviously, in power. It's I don't really know why, but like apparently it's not particularly well positioned at the moment. It is weak to like a game 1 Null Rod if it resolves and stuff, but it just feels like such a vintage deck. It's, for me, it like is vintage. Like, it's got all the most broken cards, it's got these broken combos, and it has 0 creatures in the main deck. It has 1 creature, 2 creatures in the sideboard.
Yeah.
Like, you died to your own creature, right? Something like that.
I did. I'll get to that in a second. So it's got a Sphinx of the Steel Wind in the sideboard and an Opposition Agent, which I didn't really side in. But I don't know. I did sleeve up a Lurrus like Turbo Vault Key deck the night before from Shere Khan, who keeps top 4ing challenges, I think, with it.
Isn't it Nico Boni from Switzerland?
It is Nico Boni, indeed, exactly.
Oh.
And he's really good, and he always top 4s with it.
See, I sometimes know players too.
Cool. I goldfished it like 5 or 6 times, and it was just, I'm not a Lurrus player. I didn't enjoy it at all, even goldfishing, which I know is quite lame. I just was like completely off it immediately. This is just not for me. So I was like, okay.
And then I cast my 3/2 lifelink for 3.
Yeah, I'm going to wasteland you and force you and then play a Lurrus and get back a Bauble. And it's just isn't how I want to play vintage. If I play vintage once every 3 months, I want to cast some powerful cards. And that is Tinker, basically. Tinker is just such a fun card for me.
Yeah, dude.
Yeah, I took a list from Phantom Man 95, Italian player that just like plays loads of Breach online. I didn't realize until literally after the event, but the list I copied was from a 2-4 result in the challenge. Not what we usually go for, but I totally trust that he's very good and builds the deck really well. So with the unrestriction of Ponder, the list changed from like how I played it before. So Ponder's
so bonkers to me still that we can play 4 Ponder and Vintage again.
Yeah, but a lot of decks don't play it, so it's actually an amazing unrestriction. Like, Ponder was incredible in this deck because it's just like a pure combo deck that has a lot of fast mana. But in other decks that are less pure combo, like you can't afford to play a Ponder sometimes. Like I sided a couple of Ponders out in quite a few matchups as well. So,
so what do we actually? I guess you can't really say. But what do you think people cut to make room for the Ponder?
Well, from this deck, it cut 2 Spell Pierces, a Consider, which is a clear upgrade, and I think one other crap card. I can't remember.
But I guess you already have like 3 slots.
Yeah,
you were already
exactly.
playing like 1 Ponder to begin with.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, that's true. That's it. So it was two Spell Pierces and a Consider. Yeah, of course. I won't read through the deck list because it's like almost all one-offs, because in one-offs and two-offs in classic vintage things. But again, the combos are Underworld Breach with Brain Freeze and Black Lotus, Vault Key, or you have Tinker for Ballista Citadel as well. So you're like a 3-way combo deck. And you can just also make huge constructs with sagas, as can like most combo decks in vintage. And that Black Lotus card is really, really strong. So you make some constructs, then you get a Black Lotus, and they usually just die anyway. So
this is my primer for vintage. Like you just get that Black Lotus card, you cast it, and the opponent dies. Yeah, it sounds good. Okay, guys, this is where we cast Tinker on the first turn, and then we pass. Or sometimes we don't.
I only had 1 turn, 1 win, but it was in the finals, game 1 on the play, and my opponent was playing Painter of all decks. Shout out to Jasper.
Nice.
For playing a sweet Painter deck. Like Jasper's my homie, like he's been playing Painter for longer than me, so when I got into the deck, I went to him with all my questions basically. But he was just like, Magus of the Moon is amazing in the format right now, I think, because it punishes all the wastelands and the sagas and the underground sea decks. So he was playing like Painter, splashing blue for Tinker, Ancestral and stuff, which is pretty sweet. But I had a nice turn 1 win where I was pondering for a Mox to kill turn 2, and I just found Black Lotus. I was like, oh, okay, this is a turn.
Oh, this is like triple Mox.
Yeah. Otherwise, I managed to hit every Oath player in the room. So I played against Oath 3 times yesterday, and I played against Oath 3 out of 7 or 8 rounds the event before, and the deck won all of them. So if you're looking for a deck that's good against Oath, I think it's this. So like 6-0 against it.
Okay, but at this point, you have to tell us how you killed yourself.
Yeah.
Seasoned vintage players will already know, but here you go.
So against Oath, I sided in a Sphinx of the Steelwind. Not necessarily because they usually give you Oath triggers, but because you can tinker for it, and they're only out to it generally as a Beseju, because it's got protection from Oko, it's got protection from Atraxa, so it just kind of like attacks through. And then I was playing a game that was fascinating because they'd got 2, maybe 3 Atraxa triggers, and I was fighting through it because vintage cards are crazy. And Pyroblast kills the Atraxa, so like, yeah, they have loads of forces in your hand, but like, my combo pieces are much less mana than their show and tells and Okos and all that crap. So like, I need less lands and fast mana in play. So I was fighting through it. And then eventually I was going to win if the Sphinx was in my deck in some way reasonable. So I get you can see where this is going. I get an Oath trigger. I didn't actually realize at first. I was, oh shit, Oath trigger. Cool, because you've got an Atraxa and like Oko made some things to try and aggro me down. So mill. And dear listener, you can guess it was the very literal last card in the library.
No.
Oh,
so
dude.
put into play and die on my.
You need a little bit of like training wheels, Gaia's Blessing.
Not in this.
Not in this deck. I know.
I almost beat Oath in 2 games by them milling most of the thing and then me brain freezing them. But Flusterstorm counters them usually. Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a blast. Like, as I said, playing against Oath 3 times. I played against Jewel Shops, Painter, Bug. Bug's probably like, I think quite good as well, but I just drew loads of restricted cards, which is good.
I'm looking at this, and you went 12-2 in games in vintage.
Cool. Yeah.
Like, dude, seriously. Like, in vintage, nobody goes 12-2 in vintage.
The deck felt very consistent as well. Like, I got to keep hands with 2 lands, a Ponder, and some stuff a lot. Ponders were really, really good. I know everyone's listening and being like, yeah, of course Ponders are good, but like, vintage decks haven't had 4 Ponders in forever, and people aren't playing 4 Ponders, and I think it makes sense in a lot of decks, but here, I think I mulliganed to 6 2-ish times, and I kept loads of 7s, which were just kind of lands and spells.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Kai, didn't you also play a lot of vintage recently? Like, didn't you also play? I think I saw, like, you've been streaming a lot, and I think a lot of that was vintage.
Yeah, I think like half an hour ago, I was still in my last vintage match on stream.
How did that go?
So I titled the stream for Ponder. No, how many Ponders can we possibly play because I prepped my Doomsday deck with 4 Ponders, and then like 10 seconds after we started the stream, we decided to play something completely different, which was a cephalic breakfast deck. We ported it into Vintage, and it was terrible. And
Francis.
Yeah, dude, it played 0 Ponders. That was the problem.
Yeah.
That's the problem.
Kai, you need to play this deck. I was thinking this is a U deck. It's just like,
dude, like
combo bullshit.
Oh, 100%. I feel like all the cards, like all the restricted cards, like they have all in common the fun aspect, right? Like a lot of the cards are incredibly fun to cast, like Dig Through Time, Ancestral, obviously, but also like the tutors are super, super fun. Mm-hmm. Oh man, dude, I could like also like I think this is one of the coolest decks to Goldfish. I think.
Yeah.
Right?
I had all my games were like pretty dynamic. I played very long, grindy games against all the Oath decks. Like none of us really just killed them straight away. I beat like multiple Atraxa triggers. I got to dress down Atraxas like off show and tell and stuff, which was quite cool. Like I won with Vault Key, maybe like a quarter of the games. I won with Citadel, getting me into a combo quarter of the games, or I won with Citadel and then winning with Saga Beats, while like Citadel giving me the card advantage to play control off the back of it. I won with Breach half the time. And it was just like, it did so many things. So like, one of my opponents had ley lines after board, shut off the Breach combo, so I got to go for Vault Key. It felt very, very dynamic. I think the deck's weakness is I think the deck's weakness is just a Resolve Null Rod.
I was gonna say, like, what do you reckon this is like horrible against?
Yeah,
like,
game 1, a Resolve Null Rod is you have to have Saga Beats. You can tinker for the Citadel and hope Saga Beats get there. But after sideboard, there's one Abrade in the sideboard, which you bring in a lot because you can like vamp or DT
Problem
for it.
solved.
Well, like you vamp
kind of
DT and Mystical.
Yeah,
like,
it's kind of a 4-off.
Yeah.
Like deck building is so different in Vintage, right? Like if you play these tutors, like every single one of is kind of a 4-off.
Yeah, like the sideboard has 4 ley lines, then it has an Opposition Agent, a Tabernacle, a Virtue's Ruin, a Pyroblast, a Solgai Lantern, a Bolt, a Pithing Needle, an Abrade, a Sphinx of the Steel Wind, and then 2 Hercules Recalls.
You felt you wanted that bolt? Is there really nothing better? I mean, okay, you copied the list. I see.
I copied the list.
Lightning.
But like, you
Spike.
build it. Like people play Bowmasters a lot in Vintage. I didn't face it, but you just want a clean answer to it if you're having a
Arc Lightning. I say.
True. Yeah.
I guess it wouldn't be too crazy to play your own Bowmaster as a one-off in your sideboard.
I think I prefer the Bolt just because it kills Collector Roof is another big deal.
Oh, right
like,
on.
Bug plays 4 Collector Roof every time and stuff.
Yeah, definitely.
So you have 2 bolts and an Abrade to kill Collector Roof. Feels like a good number with all the tutors.
So you guys would be saying like Vintage is in a great spot right now?
I think so. I think Vintage has been awesome for a long time. Just watching Justin and kind of like just observing the format from abroad, like it's constantly changing. Doomsday is always good, it seems like, but I don't know where it is now. But like the kind of shops that's good, whether it's prison or aggro, keeps changing. It feels like this Breach deck, I don't see it put up many results and stuff, but it feels super powerful to me. But there's probably a reason. Like blue-black Lurrus is everywhere, but then people play blue-white Lurrus, and things are constantly changing. Like as something like Source of Pashas gets better or worse in a metagame, that's going to completely flip how good something like Tarmogoyf is. If everyone's just playing straight blue-black Lurrus, you want Tarmogoyf because they can't deal with a 6/7 or something.
So how often do you actually play a value Underground Breach?
I did it quite a lot, like 3 or 4 times.
Okay.
Just play Breach, play 2 or 3 Ancestral Recalls, and you should kill them next turn if you don't find it at that time.
I mean, that's kind of a kill by itself, but
yeah. I did have a few where like I cast it and I have a bunch of hits to just win, and you hit sometimes as well. So
okay. Any instances of the most beautiful move in Vintage? You know what the most beautiful move in Vintage is?
No.
It's just my turn. Yes. Untap Mana Vault. You go.
No, I haven't had the balls to do that.
It's such a tactical, great maneuver that you can abuse. And the first time somebody hit me with it, when I was like ready to cast Dig Through Time at the end of turn, I was like, "Holy shit, dude! You just wasted all my mana and got an extra turn. Like you deserve a medal."
I feel like it's so punishable though. I don't know.
Yeah, of course, it's insanely punishable.
Obviously, if you both, I'm empty-handed, you could take a risk.
Oh, it's more like, but I mean. When I got hit with it, it was like over 10 years ago or something like that.
Right.
Or close to 10 years ago. But it wasn't like about being empty-handed. it's the opposite. It's like if your opponent is a very reactive deck and they want to like unload in your end of turn, and you're like, you know what? I'm not even gonna get a turn. You just wasted one. Like basically, we both wasted an entire turn, but I get the extra turn and you don't. Kinda.
Is this back when they're playing Flame Fusillade? This is how old it is.
Okay, dude, we go back. Somebody like I think like in the 60s, one of our episodes, I want to say 69 or something. That's a look back at Legacy, that ban list, the first 7 years or something. But we talk about that, and it's one of our best reviewed. I just say that most popular episodes. I think that one's actually true.
I'm sure you're totally playing out of your ass.
People have been asking us about like doing the second part, basically Legacy the next 7 years or something for a long time, and maybe we're gonna do it. But Legacy, the first 7 or 8 bands. See, I can't even remember what the proper. Anyway, it's in the 60s, somewhere in the 60s. Check out that episode. It's one of our greatest episodes we ever did. Anyway, back to the episode. It sounded like I did an ad. No, I just did an ad for our own episode because I really loved that episode. I loved researching that. No, good. Seriously. Okay, we got to put some context into this.
Okay.
So we are all at work. Like I sent people to go kitesurfing. Kai does the streaming. And then all of a sudden, Callum is like, oh, guys, my band is playing a gig tonight or something. Like, can we record early? And we're like, say no more. And like, we drop everything. We rush home. And now we sit here.
Yeah, it's on me.
So I'm a little bit confused right now. And I talk a lot of shit. But I mean, that's what I'm here for.
But back to the vintage. I had a blast. It's made me start playing a league today. My first one in a long time. So yeah, if you're kind of on the fence, like, vintage on Magic Online is very cheap as well, but something about playing with cards is just cool for me as well. So we had a very, very varied meta as well. We'll link, I think, a tweet from Francis where he lays it out, or we could put it in the show notes, but it was over 10 different decks and stuff, which is very cool.
Definitely. I think playing vintage on Magic Online is, like, at least for me, like it's kind of draining too. Like you can't grind like 5 leagues per day. It just, I don't know, like I'm kind of done after like 1 league almost.
Fair enough.
Because like
games are slow, or
yeah, like every single spell matters so much, and like mulliganing and things like that. Like you can't watch a movie while playing Magic Online like vintage. It just doesn't work, right? With Legacy, you can sort of do it, you know, like watch something else in the background while grinding your, I don't know, your Chalice of the Void deck, you know. Doesn't really matter too much, but like vintage is a different animal, I think.
That's a good point.
Like Legacy is like playing with Legos, whereas vintage is like performing like surgery on somebody.
There probably is a Lego surgery set, but yeah, close enough.
I would probably buy that too, yeah.
I didn't think of this, but Legacy, because I've played it so much, I have a lot of heuristics kind of just ingrained, so I play it a lot more freely. But vintage, I'm a fast player by nature anyway, but I felt like I was taking a lot longer on decisions while playing vintage.
Yeah.
Because you're just plotting out the next few turns. As you probably should. As I probably should be in Legacy as well, to be fair. But
totally.
I mean, we talked about, right, how Bowmasters changed a lot of like heuristics and everything, like how you're supposed to. Like I was playing a league the other day, or was it a challenge? I think, I played a challenge on the weekend, but I was watching a movie and I went like 3-3 or something. That didn't really matter. My opponent went, I went land go, and my opponent went land brainstorm go, and it was game 2. It was like a non-combo deck, and I was like, what the fuck? Why are they doing this? I'm like, oh, because I'm representing Bowmaster next turn. I'm like, yeah. So Bowmasters has changed the way people play Legacy.
Which is really interesting. Like, I'm seeing people just cast a brainstorm turn 1, which I think it's cool to fix it up.
It's a pretty clear tell that they're desperate, right? That they really needed to resolve it. I would put somebody who does that on a 1 land hand or something.
I wouldn't. I would just think that they don't have a removal spell for the Bowmasters.
Yeah, but then what? Then you never cast a brainstorm?
No, you just cast it. Like it's
into the Bowmaster.
No. I'm saying cast it turn 1, like before they have a chance to play a Bowmasters.
Oh, yeah, but the thing is, like, if you have land, but you don't have a removal spell, you can just, like, hold on to the brainstorm. You don't need to turn 1 it, unless, like, you're really setting up for some important turn 2 play, I guess.
It's so context dependent, I guess.
Yeah, of course. Yeah,
there was like many games where the Bowmaster players, like, it's so funny, like, some of them want to hold the Bowmaster for, like, quote-unquote max value, and they keep the Bowmaster in hand forever, for, like, 2 or 3 turns the whole time, and the brainstorm player does the same with his brainstorm. Like, no one casts a spell. And I'm like, dude, could you have like played the Bowmaster on turn 2, like sorcery speed already, and your opponent would have been on like what, 5 life maybe.
You're retelling one of the games I played on the weekend. I felt so stupid for it because I clearly didn't play it very well. I kept holding on to the Bowmaster forever. My opponent eventually put Brainstorm on the stack. I still didn't cast Bowmaster because I figured, oh, if I cast Bowmaster now, my opponent will respond with Bowmaster and kill my Bowmaster. And then like my opponent played all the cantrips and I never played Bowmaster. I was like, what am I doing here?
All right, that's how not to play it, I think.
Oh, god damn it. Yeah, man.
That was bad. That was really bad.
It's kind of like we had these kind of games also before with Pyroblast, I think, when you know, like if you have a Pyroblast, your opponent casts a bunch of blue spells already, but you're kind of waiting for that payoff card. Like good examples like Show and Tell, for example, right? Like where they cast a bunch of Brainstorms, you don't Pyroblast them because you're waiting for that Show and Tell, but guess what? The second Brainstorm maybe got them 2 Show and Tells, you know?
Or they just cast a sneak attack every time.
Yeah, every single time.
Finds a sneak attack.
Every single time.
Sneak attack, dude. It's almost like whenever they play like that Lotus Petal, and you're like, oh god, they got the red mana to activate as well. It's like, yeah, you want to die inside, right?
Yeah.
We've all been there so many times.
Yeah, with 2 blasts in hand, yeah, every time.
And Flusterstorm.
Classy. That's so classy. Yeah.
Oh yeah, dude, you guys make me excited for Vintage. Maybe I'm gonna try a little bit more of that. I think one of the Vintage challenges they added, they actually work okay for like Central Europeans. If you want to play it after work, if you can leave a little early, I think maybe that works.
Yeah, I think it was almost like 5 p.m. for me. I'm going off memory here, so it could be wrong. Don't blame me, but something good.
Okay. Something else I have on memory. Kai, you opened like some kind of gaming cafe the other day, right? Tell us about that.
I wish there was my gaming cafe, but no, I got invited to a grand opening of
close enough.
Of a new WPN store. And what's so fun about this? It is that it's kind of in the middle of nowhere. It's right between Bielefeld and Bochum.
Are you fucking kidding
I think,
me?
or Dortmund. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Okay, shout out to everybody who lives there, all 5 of you.
Yeah, seriously. But the store itself was one of the nicest stores I've ever been to. I mean, obviously it was rather new, so
sorry to interrupt you. Isn't that where Paderborn is or something?
Oh,
no,
man.
wait.
It might be close. I might be close. I'm not too familiar with in that part, like in the very center of Germany part, but it took me like about 3-4 hours with the train from Berlin, and I got invited. I had my Salatorix booth there, and there were a couple of like YouTubers and a couple of like, you know, content creators from Germany for Magic, but also other TCGs, and we ended up being there and probably like about 40-50 visitors. So it was kind of like a small event, I want to say, but man, that store just kicked ass, and they had the craziest gear, like the craziest equipment and tables I've ever seen in a Magic store so far. They basically, you guys know what a poker table is, right?
I've heard about those.
Yeah, and they made a custom. No, they made a custom made. I guess they made a custom made poker table that had like a
like proper felt and like leather around the edges.
Yeah. They had such a table for drafting, but it had so many features. It had like lights on the outside and like smoke coming out from the bottom and like sound effects and like a lot of different features all attached to this one table, and they placed it in the center of that location for a draft table basically.
That's
okay.
cool.
Okay.
And it really reminded me of Las Vegas, you know, like you go into like, you know,
you get like free drinks.
You don't, but there are drinks. They even had like magic shots. They had like a shot called Counterspell and the one called like Lightning Bolt, I think. The one was like red.
Okay.
Yeah. It was like, I mean, it was like a little cringe, you know.
I was gonna say.
Yeah.
I'd have a Counterspell, please.
But man, like that would have been like, and they're still thinking about possible ideas how to turn that into like a proper feature match area and so on. But I was like, dude, this is probably the coolest thing I've ever seen in a Magic store ever. No. That was almost like Japan level, you know.
Okay.
That table alone, it also told me that it was crazy expensive, of course, but it was so massive and good looking and had like so fun, like flashy lights coming out of it, and dude.
How to impress Kai 101.
That was like a proper table for like a Pro Tour final.
You wanted
like
to make love to the table?
So again?
You wanted to make love to the table? You sound pretty like...
Yeah. Dude, like, I spent a decent amount of time at that table. Just,
okay. A decent, not an indecent amount of time.
Yeah.
Okay.
And,
guys, you know why people love this podcast?
Nope, no idea.
Like, we've talked about the store, which is apparently like super amazing for 5 minutes or something by now, and we haven't mentioned the name of the store a single time.
Oh shit, yeah. It's called the Kelsor Grand Opening Cafe. Actually, it's called the Kelsor Cafe.
I was gonna say, is it called the Grand Opening?
No, it's probably not called the Grand Opening.
Guess who's reading the show notes?
Oh god. Can we cut this part from the podcast, please?
Of course.
Do it like who gives a shit?
No, seriously, the Kelsor Cafe. So how did you actually end up there?
So a reason why I got invited to this event is because the card market grading was also there, like the guys who grade your cards and like basically the PSA guys from card market, right? Like they were there too, and we met like 6 months ago at a different event in the same town though, and yeah.
And I love that you actually don't remember what the name of the town is.
It's called Lage, Lage, and man, it has like 3,000 people who live there or so, like maybe 30,000.
There have been GPs who are larger than Lage.
Yeah. So
I was
rather
look
small.
for it. It's okay, Lage.
It's in the middle of nowhere, I'm telling you. It's in the middle of nowhere.
Actually, it has 35,000 people living there.
Right.
Little slightly, okay, it's still tiny.
Yeah.
Matthias Kalkreuter is the mayor. Anyway, so
Yeah.
you went to Lage
Yeah.
and had a great time. And did they play any like big tournaments there? Or was it just like a pre-release?
So yeah, luckily there was a pre-release that weekend. I also got to play the pre-release on Friday night because the event was on Saturday. The Friday was like the get-together day, and we also played one pre-release. And I played the pre-release after a 3-4 year break of playing any pre-release events, and gosh, that was the first time where I used all the 15 minutes for deck construction. I don't know if you guys are familiar with limited. Like some of the listener might not. Like you open your packs, right? It's sealed. You have 50 minutes for deck construction, and then you start 3-4 rounds or 5 even. And usually you need like 15 minutes, maybe 20. If it's really difficult, maybe 30 minutes. But the cards have so much text these days. I start to sound like a boomer here, but dude, the comments are over the top. They have so much text. They are better than some rares compared to like stuff, like 4 or 5 years ago. They're insane.
So you were like basically reading all the cards. Like you didn't prepare for the pre-release. You just you were just like winging it.
Oh no, not at all. Also, I went undefeated.
Easy
clap, I thought, yeah, I'm gonna cast a couple of crystal bears. They have like 5 more keywords each, but hey, who? It doesn't matter.
You just you construct your deck by like numbers of
letters,
letters per card or something, like words per card.
The longer the text, they don't even have space for the flavor text anymore because there's so much text.
We're gonna get to a point where like you get the card and there's just like a QR code on it and you can scan it and it tells you what it does.
They already kind of have that. There's a Urza unglued card where you have to log onto the website to see its abilities.
Shit, yeah. Let's just don't end up like Yu-Gi-Oh, where the font size is like, I don't know, 1 pixel or something. Yeah, that'd be a disaster. But other than that, it was a fun event though. I'm also not here to shit talk about the long text. I think the games were definitely more interesting than the limited games like back then because there's like so much interaction and there's so many triggers, but also so many triggers you can miss. lots of cool dynamics, and Wizards keeps pushing those attack triggers, right? Like as long as you are the player in, I don't know, like not the defending player, basically the pushing player, you get a lot of benefits. Player. Yeah, like battle cries effects, stuff like that. Whenever you attack with something, you get this and that.
So does that mean you're gonna attend more pre-releases in Berlin? I guess there's gonna be one every other week or something, but judging by like today's schedule.
Yeah, I think like pre-releases or limited is maybe like the only format in Magic the Gathering, I guess, except Commander, where the format it's not broken, or
I mean it's what they used to spend most of their time on, right? Getting it right.
Yeah.
I think. I don't know how much of an issue that is these days, or how important that is to them these days. I would imagine it's going to be hard to like balance every, I don't know, Universes Beyond or something. Like, I don't even know what exactly gets like pre-releases and what doesn't. Like, does I guess secret layers don't get like pre-releases or something, right?
that'd be kind of hilarious.
It's just the main sets that get pre-releases. Like Lord of the Rings did, because that was a separate Universes Beyond thing, but the Universes Beyond sets usually don't. They're just releases.
So like, for example, the Fallout set?
Yeah, that didn't. I'm pretty sure. I mean, maybe you can have lots of people saying, nope, I went to one. I don't think it did though.
I would believe it. Like, seriously.
Yeah.
Like, the other day I saw like an Etherwild or something, and I felt, dude, seriously, you could print like anything you want on a card and tell me this is the card, and if we played in a tournament, like whatever. Oh, actually, let me share a story. I played in an ELM qualifier. We are gonna get to how I did in a moment, in a very sad moment, but I played against a guy, and he showed me, I want to say, a Badlands. Or was it a fetch land? It was either a dual land or a fetch land. And it already looked sketchy while we played. And then after the match, he takes it out. He shows it to me, and he's like, so a lot of people have been saying this is fake, and I take it out of the sleeve as I'm just like unsleeving it. It's still inside the perfect size. I'm like, yes, this is totally fake, dude. This is not even anywhere close to good. This is beyond real. This is super, super fake. And he was like, I guess he couldn't say it right there at the tournament because he didn't know whether I was gonna like rat him out or something. I guess he wouldn't have showed me if in the first place if he was scared. But I would tell him like, I absolutely don't give any kind of shit like if this is real or not. Just telling you like this is beyond doubtful. This is completely fake. Anyway, just frown upon him because this was a non-proxy tournament. But I get why like places don't want to do non-proxy. I love proxy events. But at the same time, I'm never going to be the one to call somebody out on it. Like if the star is a policy and they want people to follow it, that's fine. But if I'm definitely never going to call out somebody for it. I just wanted to share that.
I mean, like the only rule,
yeah.
the only rules for the WPN stores, right? Like they that's the policy, right? Like they can't have those
proxies, right?
Proxy events. Yeah, I think that's
I'll never do that as well. And also, whenever I play against people with shock lands, I just say don't take 2 damage. I don't care.
And they're like, no, I play Shadow. It's like, no, it's fine. You know,
I want you to gain the life.
You've seen through my plan.
Dude, I told you, right? When I went back into Modern like 7 or 8 years ago and somebody started fetch land, shock, untapped, lightning bolt myself, go, I was like, what is this?
What hell are we in?
Exactly. Richard Garfield, where are you?
I didn't cast Misdirection, I swear.
Yeah. Especially in Modern, right? So yeah, I wanna holy shit, guys. I only played my 3rd paper event of the year, 2nd or 3rd, I don't remember.
Oh, congrats. How did it go?
Better than Kai's Vintage?
Holy
Hopefully.
shit,
it
was bad. I played Painter. I didn't really have... I wanted to play Painter with Soul Cauldron. Couldn't get Soul Cauldron because it costs like, I don't know, 2 Teslas or something. This is beyond reasonable. And I also couldn't borrow them because literally nobody has them. They all sit in booster packs or in stores. Like nobody has them. It's
because they're so expensive. No one wants it.
Yeah, they cost like 1,700 euros or something a piece. It's crazy. And I guess I should not have played Painter because honestly, I don't believe Painter is very good right now. At least the non-Soul Cauldron version. Maybe even the Soul Cauldron version. I don't know. But I'm not here to talk about that. Yeah, I got crushed, but... I think I went 2-4 or something, and then I dropped, or 2-3. I don't remember it. But can we talk about how fucked up, messed up, toxic this stupid whole scam, grief, the yada thing is? Like,
Julian,
really
you're on the stage. Rant away.
No, seriously, I really haven't played all that much this year. But when I went to that tournament, and I played my first round, and my opponent went first, and he did that, and then he did that again. And not only did he do... I mean, usually we're not supposed to be like, oh, this bad situation happened. It's so bad. Like, complain about that shit. Why didn't you prepare for it? But that, I don't know, that was some kind of revelation to me almost. And then he not only did that scam thing, then on the second turn he got Archon. I literally played a land and passed, and the game was... Then the second game, we do the thing again, he does the same thing again. I'm like, dude, I've played like 2 lands in my entire life, and this tournament is already over. Like, what? And he felt so sorry for it because I tried to hide it, but how have you guys been living with this shit?
It is a very obnoxious play pattern.
It's the most toxic, fucked up. Obnoxious is like a very diplomatic way of putting it. This is. I told you guys, right? I think we should push back at some point. Because this is I put it in the show notes because I think we have to draw a line in the sand at this point.
I've said on Twitter quite a lot that I think grief should be banned, and I hate it. I don't want to like divulge into too much ban talk. I mean, if you do, go for it.
Neither do I. Like, I just want to say fuck this shit.
But it's a weird one because I do think the deck is too good. I think the why it's too good is because the pivot into a fair deck is too powerful. Basically, game 1, it has Entomb and Reanimate, and you've got the Atraxa, the Archon. And the only things that are like really good against this game 1 are actual whole archetypes. So the card Elvish Reclaimer is amazing against this deck because, you know, you can if you get to untap with it.
Yeah, Elvish Reclaimer would have helped me a lot in that matchup.
Yeah. Well, I think that is... But like crop rotation decks, I think are good against it because Depths is quite good against it and Elvish Reclaimer. But then you're like asking a format to play a whole different archetype, whereas... Me playing Painter, I felt like, you know, I've not liked the matchup at all, and I'm not really sure what to do because you bring in like Fairy Macabre and they just side out 2 into 4 animate deads.
You can't do the thing where you attack the graveyard with like dedicated graveyard hate. That's how they get you. That's why like the other episode or something, I jokingly suggested Scavenging Ooze. Like you need something that does something on its own, and then it's incidental graveyard hate. And ideally, it's also available on turn 0, which like doesn't exist, or it's like an obscure Legends rare or something, right? That nobody ever plays.
Yeah, the classic 0 mana card from Legends.
Yeah.
But no, you're right. Why it's so frustrating is because game 1 it has these hands like Grief, and then Reanimate Grief is just like you can't really interact with it. Like you can't sword the Grief with it unstacked because you're still not getting a good trade. And if they do it on the play, then whatever. You can't force the Grief, and if you only have 1 force, they're going to take the force and then reanimate it. So there's very, very little counterplay. And you know, like sometimes you draw out of it, and that Grief on turn 1 doesn't get there because the hand. That was like, you know, most of their hand and stuff. But sometimes they have a good hand, and the deck plays Ponders and Brainstorms, so you can put bad things back.
I'm not even here to say whether it's like the deck is too good or not. It might very well be. I don't want to put myself in a position where I have to like even like make that case. I just want to say the gameplay is horrible, absolutely dog shit horrible. And if it happens to be also like really good on top of that, holy shit! Like let's not accept that.
I agree. Yeah.
It's tough, yeah.
Do you think Grief is like the real problem, or like Bowmasters as well? Or?
I guess we were like in a survival problem. You know what I mean? Like we either let go of Reanimate or Grief, and I mean a lot of people feel attached to Reanimate, and so do I. So I'm happy that I don't like. I guess I don't need to make the call in the first place because it's not my call. But I think Grief is just such a horrible, toxic card design. I just don't want it in a format where this is possible. Like, I don't mind if Reanimate ends up going, but still, Grief is horrible.
I'd be gutted if Reanimate goes. Reanimate's not been a problem until now. Like, in the format's history, right? It's been fine until now.
But it's also like one of the coolest artworks ever.
Yeah.
It's exactly now why I want to keep it around.
Yeah. Like Grief doesn't even have anything. No, the art's cool as well.
Yeah, like Robert Bliss, dude. Like you got to look this up. Like he hasn't done many pieces on Magic, but like the ones he did, they slap all of them. Unfortunately, some of the cards are really bad.
So we should make them good and ban Reanimate.
Yeah, but like.
But no,
yeah,
like,
it's tough. It's tough because I was also thinking about the card Reanimate and how the deck could be quote unquote kind of fair-ish if all the Reanimate cards are 2 mana instead of 1.
Mm-hmm.
But that also like it gets a little slower, right? But like the gameplay is sort of the same, right? They're gonna just put more exhumes maybe.
The thing is, like, it's a world of difference whether you get your first turn before they can like do something to a Grief in a graveyard or not.
Yeah, like I mean, we're talking about speed here, right? And let's just say, for the argument's sake, that if Wizards of the Coast bans the card Reanimate, then what is Reanimate gonna do, right? Like they're gonna play more 2 mana reanimation spells, and they're probably gonna boost up Lotus Petals maybe, and have like the same sort of effect.
Like I guess dedicated reanimator decks, they would do some I don't know if that, like, how good they would be. Maybe they would go back to where they belong, like tier 2.5 or something. Or they would play like more like a Glorious Vengeance kind of route, which is awkward because I guess Archon is not legendary, but I guess Shallow Grave, whatever. Like the deck would take a hit, it would remain playable, but I really don't want to like make any kind of call. Like, if you guys want to say this is the way to go, that I'm all for it. But I just want to go out and do like this. It's kind of like polemic talk about like, fuck this shit. This is not okay. Like, this is seriously not okay. If people do that.
Tell us how you really think.
You should tell your opponent every time, like, this is just not okay.
My opponent is the last, like, I'm the chump, right? I'm not playing the kind of deck that abuses this, and I'm not even sure like how good it is, because I think Grixis Saber might actually be better. But I mean, that at least plays Magic. But holy shit, like mono black grief, blue black reanimator grief, re-scanning whatever. Like, I'm not here to do that. And then like next turn run into goblins that kills me on turn 2, and like then play against like stupid 12-color beanstalk and that shit. Dude, I'm not happy. I am not happy right now, and that's not a good thing.
Yeah, it's weird. Legacy. There's a lot of archetypes out there, and I've seen people saying, you know, look, this top 8 is all the different. Like earlier, we were saying.
Sorry to interrupt you there. Rancid is almost like the kind of card I want to use.
Yeah, but there is variety in the format. A lot of it. I know you've just said there's all the different grief decks, and you know, there's a joke there, but there was all these dark ritual decks and stuff, and then like. I think,
you're not making it better, Callum.
No. I'm saying, but then there's dark depth decks. But the thing is, some of the play patterns in the format, like I find the Goblins decks, the Turbo one, quite obnoxious as well. It's just so fast and kills you so aggressively. But that one's more okay. But I'm on your side. I find Grief really obnoxious to play with and against, and it's not very fun play patterns. Like a lot of the time, so I played the blue-black Reanimator deck at a local a few weeks ago just to see how it was. And I did pretty badly. I went 2 and 3. But even when I was doing like the turn 1 Grief Reanimate it, like you spend a bunch of your hand and then you discard their hand, and then you're both just like, okay, well, who's going to top deck a bit better? It's not a fun play pattern at all, and it was quite a common one. So yeah, I want Grief gone. I would really hate Reanimate to be banned. Like I'm not making the call either, but again, Reanimator is, if it's just like if it's a Reanimator deck, not a blue-black tempo deck, then it's quite easy to hate out. You can play Surgicals or Fairy Macabres or Ley Lines.
Right.
But this deck just sides out some Animate Deads and Entombs, and then brings in like Douthie Void Walkers and Murktides, and so it is a blue-black tempo deck.
Yeah, man. That's such a clean swap, right?
It's too good. It's too good.
And yeah, and it just fits perfectly into the core of their deck, like the being like a Wasteland Daze deck. Mm-hmm. And you know, it's kind of like the game one is kind of like a free roll for them anyways, right? Because they're a combo deck, but then post sideboard they become a regular scam deck. It's so hard to sideboard against it. Yeah. And also something that not a lot of people have mentioned so far is the Surveyor Land. Like Undercity Sewers, dude, that card alone I think pushed that archetype drastically into.
Really, that much?
I think that card is insane. Like
I think it's really good, but I wasn't aware it was that good.
Like so what happens in enough games, I want to say, is that like people combine with like the Fetchland Crack Surveil with Brainstorm, right? And before we had to use cards like Careful Study or like Faithless Looting, I guess it's a red card, but card disadvantage cards, right? But now you can brainstorm back your Atrox or your Archon of Cruelty or what have you, and then
Helpless Researcher.
Helpless Researcher, yeah. And get it in the graveyard with no card disadvantage. And that, you know, and a lot of the time, like when a combo player plays against a control player, for example, or against Delver, most combos fail or succeed because of the one last card the combo player had or didn't have. And yeah, it's kind of scary to me how that Scaminator deck constantly goes off with like more reanimates on deadly Atroxes while having 5 cards in hand, maybe 6 or so. Like,
yeah, I've had a bunch of games against it where they just force a will your thing and end of turn Entomb reanimate, and it's just I know blue-black reanimator has been a thing for a long time.
It's scary,
but they just have the other thing is, which we're not appreciating, is like Grizzlebrand would be so much worse than Atraxa and Archon. It's just weird to say, but the old reanimated threats, like Grizzlebrand, you kind of didn't have game against. We always used to say that, but it got better. Archon and Atraxa are so good in this. Like the Archon, like the Archon just changes matchups completely. Like if it was just Atraxa and Griselbrand, Caracas would be a very good card against the deck. I know they have Wastelands, but it'd still be very good. But the Archon just like single-handedly beats lands. It just does so much. It's so oppressive. Like it kills you in 2 or 3 turns. It's just done.
What I want to say, like there's something that actually makes me feel all warm and fuzzy inside again. Like after complaining so much about the shit, like then I look at the most recent Sunday Legacy Challenge, and I see in 11th place there's Strive for casting Eternal Witness in Legacy.
Nice. Let's go.
See, solved. All good. Let's go home.
Eternal Witness. Let's get back my Oro plate again. Just love this.
So just so we don't get accused of just like spouting nonsense, like I'm looking at some of the numbers now. So shout out to lordoflegacy.com. This is Albert Lindblom's new website. He's been scraping all the data from the Legacy Data project run by Joe, ex-Volrath and stuff. So shout out to them as well. So his website, it's lordoflegacy.com. We should link this as well. So you can look at the winners meta. So this is everyone that finished X2 or better in online challenges. And the deck does have a 53.4% win rate with an 8.3% meta share, which is less than Rug Delver actually. But it is the second highest win rate after Doomsday, which has a very low representation, I guess, 3%. So 53.4 when people are kind of considering it as a top dog as well. Like they're gunning for it. I don't know. Maybe I'm just bad.
Like, you can't really gun for it, right?
Yeah,
that's the thing about the deck. You can't really gun for it. Like it's kind of like, you're supposed to play a football match, but then you walk on and you have like a baseball club and like you start beating up people and you're like, okay, worst case, like you can't play anymore and I get a red card. And best case, the ref doesn't notice it and we get to play on and I have an advantage. It's just like, that's what it feels like playing against the deck.
Yeah. So, I don't know. They did call out Bowmasters in the last ban announcement and stuff, saying they're keeping an eye on it. I don't particularly like the card, but I don't find it like anywhere near as obnoxious as Grief. But Bowmasters has played way more than Grief. I assume it's the most played creature in the format. I think it's
it kind of is. I think
it's about 40%, which is pretty damn high.
Oh wow!
Yeah. Shandu posted it in the Legacy Discord. We're not that big yet in the Everyday Channel Discord.
Yeah.
And judging by the MTG Goldfish share, let's use the MTG Top 8 one because that one doesn't include sideboard cards. Bowmasters is in almost 40% of decks. Then we got Murktide in 25%, Brazen Borrower in 22%, Grief in 22%. Troll of Khazad-dûn in 20%.
It's just blue-black deck, isn't it?
It's basically blue-black deck and Simian Spirit Guide, because then it's followed by Simian Spirit Guide and then Atraxa and Archon of Cruelty.
Nice.
It's just like straight up the deck.
So, I mean, that just says the play rates of the deck are very high as well, right? And the win rate. It's a nice mix.
We talked about this on the Discord, right? If you had told me like 5 or 10 years ago that the most common creature played in Legacy, or rather, like the top 3 most common played creatures in Legacy that have not been printed in the last 5 years. So basically, the most common old creatures still played in Legacy in 2024 are Simian Spirit Guide, Delver of Secrets, and Goblin Matron. I would have been like, dude, what?
I would have guessed that they printed a land that taps for 3 mana to cast goblin spells.
To God, yeah, of course. What's that, Squeeze Workshop or something? And then you have to sacrifice it. It's like basically Squeeze Black Lotus or so.
That'd be cool.
But it eats your land drop, so it's worse. We'll see. Anyway, guys, with that, I think we're going to call it a day.
So that was a bit ranty, but it comes from some real frustration.
You need to do that shit. You don't need to accept. I mean, it's not like Wizards is gonna listen to this podcast and they're like, excuse me, Mr. Mark Rosewater, sir, we got in a situation here. Can yeah, of course, sure. That's not how it works, right? At least I'm not gonna call Rosewater. But as a community, and if you feel the same, please let us know. If you don't feel the same, also let us know. And I just want to say, I want to have a little, like, I want the game to develop a little bit more. I feel like we're playing chess, but with only half the pieces, and that doesn't feel as good.
Oh, that's a really good point. Yeah, that's a really good point. Keeps and mulligans have never been this.
But if you mulligan in chess, you're doing it wrong, right?
Yeah. But opening hands are really important. Like we talked about, like how quote unquote bad preordain is these days, right? Because instead of sculpting your hand, you already want to have a somewhat decent hand.
You know, that to me, that's always the joke that I sometimes do during tournaments. When like, no, I don't want to cast a cantrip. I want to have the good card in the first place. I don't want to search for it. And this has been more true than ever in Legacy, I feel.
Yeah.
I feel like the blue-black deck has made me just mulligan less. In the past, you like had the opportunity to mulligan. Painter, I was always very happy to mull down to 5 to get a good hand. Like I'd mull kind of borderline 7s that just had lands and spells but didn't do anything good or powerful. But now I'll keep them because I'm probably going to get griefed and discard my cards. I need to top deck. So
I mean that's a good point too. Like as a comparison to what happened in Modern, right? Like when the they didn't have Atroxa reanimate on turn 1 or 2, but when the Scam deck was literally tier 0 in Modern, the best decks against it were the ones with the good top decks, like Rhinos, for example.
Or Amulet, I guess.
That just kept top decking like basically bombs after turn 3.
Makes sense. Totally.
These decks don't exist as much in Legacy, I think, because Legacy is more like a little bit of a fragile format, I think, where people need to get very specific cards together, or
it's also like Legacy usually has a lot of like really interesting, cool synergies that don't work as well once the game gets reduced to top decks, because then you have a much higher risk of just like drawing 5 cards that don't do anything. In which case, of course, you question the deck you're playing, which I'm basically doing with Painter right now.
Yeah.
Well, on Painter, so another weakness of the deck I found, not of Painter, of blue-black, is they don't play much removal. They very rarely play more than 2 Brazen Borrowers game 1, and then like Archon is kind of removal. But then after sideboard, they have like a mix of 2 or 3 like Fatal Push, Dismember kind of stuff, and then usually another Brazen Borrower. So I want to play decks that play to the board, and then your impactful pieces on the board. So Elvish Reclaimer, I think, is like the best card against the deck in general. But I'm looking at like Shortcake as Painter. I think Shortcake may be the best build of Painter. I know I puke when I hear the card, but Enlightened Tutor is actually quite good against discard spells.
You see what I mean with Rancid?
Yeah. But like, I find that I've beaten Scam a lot when I just have like a quick hand that dumps Painters and Goblins and Fables and stuff onto the board. Like, you don't want to be reactive to the deck. You do have to just cross your fingers and hope.
You also don't want to play Fury against them. Like, I feel so bad. Like I feel like Fury would be so good against them, and then you're like, dude, I cannot like keep Fury in the deck.
I'm playing 0 Fury and full Pyrokinesis in the sideboard now.
Yeah,
this
is where we are.
So if people's looking to find a way to do it, I would recommend just trying to find things in your archetype that plays to the board. Don't try and keep cards in hand. I know they can always grief you turn 1, reanimate, blah blah blah, but yeah. Especially creatures
Angel.
Baneslayer Angel will just doesn't even block a troll or a Murktide. It blocks Murktide and has protection from dragons. Sorry, that's wrong. Easy. But it'll die to an Archon.
You can't have it all.
Yeah.
Guys, I'm gonna make dinner, and then I'm gonna play some more Cyberpunk, because I gotta say, there's no stupid grief in Cyberpunk, and it's actually it's slowly growing to become one of my favorite games ever. I never thought I would say that after the fiasco that was the release of Cyberpunk. And I know, Callum, you don't really play a lot of games, and Kai is probably busy drawing cards, but I just want to say I really enjoy Cyberpunk right now.
The grief's going to find its way to get in there. It's going to discard your character, and you have to start again or something.
Oh, I don't want to do that. Anyway.
Yeah.
Kai, what are you up to for the rest of the evening?
Yeah, I think I'm gonna also make some dinner and then play 2 leagues of Rescaminator, I think.
Dude, I was actually...
Dude, just kidding, dude.
Okay.
Oh, man. Nope.
Okay. We need to find a new member of the podcast. Okay. If you find somebody on the streets in Berlin. By the way, Callum, Kai, I was actually wondering the other day, what is like the typical fashion, like the typical garment? Like, in Bavaria, we wear like lederhosen.
Yeah.
Like, what's the typical way of dressing in Berlin?
Mono black. Yeah,
okay,
yeah, dude.
Okay. Mono black leather.
Mono black Scam is just how you dress up.
Yeah,
in
Berkheim. Here we go. Here we go, everybody. If you want to get into Berkheim.
Also, P.S. I will probably go into Berkheim for the first time in my life, probably next week.
Really? Seriously?
Yeah, maybe in 2 weeks or so. Yeah.
Dude, you have to leave your camera behind and everything?
You have to. Yeah, it's the hardest club in the world to get into, to get in, and I don't know.
You gotta tweet about this until you get in, right? I think they put like some kind of like duct tape on the camera because you're not allowed to use your camera inside Berkheim.
Right.
And if you don't have it, once you get out, you get in trouble or something.
Yeah. But the thing is, like, I also don't listen to techno all that much, but like,
I mean, the first step is not calling it techno, Kai.
Oh, I'm okay.
I would think. I don't know. Like, are you going alone or with friends? Or
yeah, we have a couple of friends. Yeah, I'm gonna classical music.
Okay. Excuse me, where do they play Chopin? Okay. Everybody, if you want to learn how to get into Berkay and tune in next time, support us on Apple Podcasts and patreon.com/everydayeternal. You can follow us on X at EternalMTG and Instagram. And with that, thank you so much to everybody who supports our cast and who loves Legacy. Also Vintage guys. You're maybe that's going to be my fix for the time being. But I want to thank you, everybody, especially our Eternal Witness tier supporters. Guys, we have so many supporters. This is getting ridiculous. We got Kane, Colin Garassi, Alex Crow, Tim Everett, Testacular, Salvatore of MTG Chicago, Sebastian Hollager, Guillaume, Sean Dewey, Francis Kauper, Cassandra Davis, Dylan Shoemaker, Retro Sharer, Tom Zischka, Benedict Gruber, and Severin Schwarzhuber. And on our Grizzleparent tier, support tier, Scott Monroe, Evan Lazar, Tom Happ, Ian Seifeld, and Colonoscopy. Thank you so much, and see you again in a couple of weeks once Grief has been fucked badly and removed. See you. Bye-bye.
See ya.
Bye.